everyone. I'm your host, Ifeoma Chibogu. This is Ifeoma Speaks. Guess what? Today, my crew and I tracked down 3 2019 presidential aspirants at several locations. It was a Herculean task, but with God, all things are possible. Based on various requests, I went to have conversations with them to know where they're coming from and their value proposition. Don't go away. Stay tuned for their responses. Nigerians are watching, Nigerians are listening. Could you please introduce yourself?
My name is Omoyele Sowore. Until now known as the publisher of Sahara Reporters. That is probably my best known daytime job.
So what have you contributed to Nigeria from the time you were born till now?
The best times I could look back at the times I was in the university when between 1989 and 99, when I joined other student leaders, national pro-democracy activists, international forces to fight against military rule. And that struggle culminated in a handover of power from the military in 1999 to civilians. And for almost 20 years now, we've had civilian rule. And I've also, during that period, engaged serially with ensuring that the civil society in Nigeria is empowered, created a media platform that had not only local impact but global reach. And I think that has shaped the way the media is covering news, particularly in terms of development, corruption, and other issues affecting Nigerians socially, politically, economically, and culturally. So I pretty much think these are areas where my contributions have been, most felt, and I have scars to show for it, for standing up for what is right from time to time in this country, Nigeria, and outside of Nigeria as well. So in general, I've been a pro-democracy activist, a human rights activist. I've been a media practitioner on a disruptive level. I have been an environmentalist fighting to help protect the Niger Delta environment. And I've been, widely traveled, exposed, in general.
What major contributions would you make to Nigeria when you become president? First, when you become your party's flag bearer, then president.
I think it will be the best thing for any party to have, not me and us as a candidate, because we already have a political platform known as Take It Back. So what do we bring to Nigeria is, brand new ideas on how to govern a nation that has been misgoverned for 58 years. Plenty of positive energy in a way that the country has never experienced before. We are going to be bringing in brand new hands, both locally and internationally, to take charge of this country. We are bringing in new sources of funding to take care of the projects that we need. A proper, holistic development of Nigeria in a way that we are starting as if nothing exists here. So we are building Nigeria brand new. It would be wrong to say we want to rebuild Nigeria, because quite honestly, there's nothing to build on in Nigeria. There are no roads. There are no roads to build on. Almost no railways to build on. Almost no hospitals to build on. No schools to build on. We just have a system that is getting by on its own without proper planning. I'm a planner too, so I have to throw that in. Apart from having a master's in public administration, I have a bachelor's degree in geography and planning from the University of Lagos. So within this framework, the security of the people of this country will be completely rebuilt. Power, electricity will be brought about in this country in such a way that you can actually have supply of power 24/7. And we mean that we can deliver this in 3 years based on our understanding of the energy mixes that are out there, modern ways of bringing electricity, renewable ways of bringing electricity. and also very strong and well-tested ways of expanding whatever is in existence. I know I said before there's nothing to build on, but whatever we can, we'll take them as raw materials. This is how to build this country now. And the same thing will happen to infrastructure. We've said it several times that we will turn this country into a construction site because we need to build 17 million homes. We need to produce almost 24,000 megawatts of electricity. We are doing 7,000, able to transmit 3,000 right now. We want to be able to transmit at least 21,000 of that to homes, factories, schools, hospitals, and every nook and cranny where they're needed. We're talking about almost 220,000 kilometers of highways, in which wherever there's one highway now, we double it or completely abandon them and build them elsewhere. Because our roads are built in convoluted ways where they are supposed to go straight, they are diverted to go round. We saw that traveling to Jos. I don't know, maybe they're like pre-colonial highways. Instead of traveling directly into Jos, you have to, go in the convoluted ways in some places. It doesn't make sense. There's a lot of things that don't make sense in this country that we have to discard, abandon, and just build brand new. We need to do the same for fighting corruption because we are bleeding right now. Whatever is supposed to even help, build this country has been taken out to buy houses in Dubai, in London, in the US. They are used to buy jets, luxurious cars, and we have said it that instead of buying 50 Prado Jeeps, we would love to buy 100 tractors, so that the agriculture we're talking about, people can start using cows to push plows, use tractors to do it. And we want to bring technology to bear on all of this. It's the health, education, agriculture, tourism. There's a lot Nigeria's got to offer the world. As you know, we are some of the most innovative people on this continent of Africa, if not the world. We have some of the best doctors out there who need to be attracted to come back home, engineers who are here, who are willing to work, but are not allowed to do so because the system just don't encourage it. We want to incentivize workers, and use modern technology to purge our workforce of ghost workers. About 21% of Nigeria's workforce is made of fake people. And just ensure that we lower to the barest minimum the cost of governance, because that's one of the things that is killing us. You have things like a state governor or the president of the country with 9 jets, and the country is just 10,000 square miles, kilometers, as they say. What do you need 9 jets for? It's completely unnecessary. We'll get rid of all of that. If we don't know where to put them, we go and use it to start an airline for the country, so that people can be flying in those jets. We retrofit them, put seats in them. You can go to every nook and cranny of Nigeria. Nigeria is not very big. We just came from Jalingo, which is the end of Nigeria. On that side, if you go from Lagos, it's on the extreme right side of Lagos. We just came back from there. But what is the problem with traveling around Nigeria? Bad roads. We want to create dual carriageways in between cities, major regions of the country, so that farmers, when they harvest their products, can get to markets on time and sell them and be able to send their children to school, be able to take care of their hospital bills, be able to buy some things for themselves and live happily ever in wherever they choose to do so. But when you have this country has the highest post-harvest loss of all nations of Africa. Our electricity consumption per kilowatt is worse than that of South Sudan, or almost at par with South Sudan. For us, we are doing worse than Libya, which is at war. So there's no country equivalent to Nigeria in terms of resources that is performing as bad as Nigeria as it is now. So there's so many things to do, but we need to get down to business very soon.
You have been listening to Omoyele Sowore, a presidential aspirant, the young and energetic Omoyele. Okay, Omoyele, thank you so much. Thank you for coming on Ifeoma Speaks. Thank you for the time. Thank you so much. God bless you. Ahmed, you're welcome to Ifoma Speaks. Could you please introduce yourself?
My name is Ahmed Buhari, and for our viewers, it's important that I make it very clear that I'm not related to the current president, and that part of the reasons why I'm talking to you today is because I declared that I'll be running for office of the president in 2019. This was a declaration I made on the 1st of October 2016, at a time when everybody thought because I was young, I had lost my mind, or this was not something that was going to be achieved. But I'm glad that 2 years on, it's seeming more like a reality than just a dream. But then, more importantly, some people want to ask what's my background, what I've been doing, and what I've been up to before making this declaration. I'm a geologist by training. I also have 2 master's degree, one in geographic information systems and spatial analysis, and the other in international trade and marketing. I did work with oil and gas as a well site geologist for a few years, and then I worked with the telecoms as well, where I was serving as a senior business development manager. After which I moved on and I decided to start up a company on my own to see how I can get more young people gainfully employed. And for me, more than anything else, I was more interested in seeing how young people would express themselves using technology. So I run a tech hub. It's several years old now, about 8 years old now. And the exciting thing about it is the fact that we sit down and we look for solutions that we can actually use to proffer solutions to address some of the major issues tackling our economy, security, education, and anything that we find ourselves attracted to wanting to solve as it concerns the Nigerian state.
What have you contributed to Nigeria from the time you were born until now?
First of all, I've never committed any crime. I've never been corrupt. So to mark that part, I've not stolen our collective resources, and I will never, by the special grace of God. But more importantly, sometimes the only way you can actually impact society is by impacting them based on what you can offer. And for me, the one thing I've been glad to offer, especially with the fact that I decided to start an IT hub, is the fact that we run an IT hub that is determined to provide some corporate social responsibilities to the society that we live in. And so we started the Kids Can Code program some years ago, where we call kids from our neighborhood, that's where my office is situated, and call them to, expose them to everything around ICT, whether it's going to be programming, whether it's going to be design, whether it's going to be graphics, and say, there is more to life than just medicine, pharmacy, and architecture. There are other things that you can do with yourself. And, right now, moving forward as a people, in this current times, it's important to understand that ICT sort of spreads across every single sector, depending on how well you want to use it. So we bring these kids down, and then we expose their minds, and then we also have the training for people with special abilities. These are things we do for free. So we bring people who are either blind, having hearing problems, or cripples, or albinos. The reason why we decided to pick this demography is because there are people that are challenged physically, and because they would have to survive somehow, they have to travel from point A to point B, and this can be very tedious for them. So we decided, let's expose them to everything that concerns ICT and see how they can make bread for themselves without having to travel. We also have what we call the programs that we run for twice a year. We call them hackathons. And hackathons are programs that you invite. We specifically invite students from university and those that are done with university to come around to see how we can think through finding the best solutions to problems around the Nigerian state. So from education, sometimes we present them to say, okay, fine, we want to get the best solution to see how we can now have computer-based testing easier for people in the rural areas who have never seen a computer before, but are being compelled to go into a jam hall, having to write or having to take part in a CBT test. So when they come there, they'll be like, oh, so we can actually develop something for people using a hackathon process. We've done it for the security systems. We've done it for health sector. And these are the ways we have been able to impact society. If you're asking whether we've been able to do boreholes or build churches and mosques here and there, we haven't done those kind of things because we think more than anything else, it's important to build the human capital than to provide them with infrastructure that truly maybe they will never be able to use in their lifetime.
What significant contributions would you make to Nigeria from the moment you become president? In fact, first, as flag bearer of your party.
So, we did talk about the party over the phone, and I said that we haven't publicly declared the political party we'll be running with. However, I think it's important for people to understand that we have made this decision based on the party that we'll be declaring on the 30th of June 2018, because it's the one party that we think has got the structure, the grassroots presence that can actually fight the incumbent government. And for us, we want to send a message across the entire Nigeria that, look, despite the fact that we're young, we want people to understand that age is not a function of good leadership. That you can be young and give good leadership or not. The same thing if you're old. It's not because you're old that you have good leadership to offer. So again, for us, we have made our choice, and we're going to be expecting that Nigerians will see the reason why we're going with this platform and see how we can, put our forces together and see how we can give this old corrupt politicians a good run for their money. But it has to be a collective effort. I don't think one person can do this. If we cannot find the dream in all of us, then we may not be able to achieve what we're trying to achieve. For me, this is not an ambition, it's a vision. So if anybody is going to be ready to run with the kind of ideas we have bottled up, if anybody is going to be ready to the kind of mindset that we have, if anybody is going to be ready to say, okay, fine, based on the Nigerian project, which I believe to succeed, we have to have a united people first. We all have to be united, regardless of all the things that divided us, whether ethnicity, whether religion, whether social status, whether political party, ideological affiliations, whether gender, whether age brackets. We need to find the people that are going to say, fine, because we want this country to succeed, we're going to come together. Secondly, we want the people that are going to be focused on seeing how we can have a secure country. One of the reasons why the country is not succeeding right now is because insecurity has become the new bane. And why insecurity has become the new bane is because everybody is leaving it for the next person to take care of. It has to be collective. Because my people say, when fire starts burning over there, you don't know where it's going to stop. It may come down to you. So I think it should be our concern collectively to understand that despite the fact that we've been having some insecurity issues here and there, it is not necessarily a religious matter. It is actually a sovereign matter. And so by the time we come together and understand that the people that are attacking us actually struck in the 70s, when we had the Matasini attack, they struck in the 80s when we had the Matasini attack again, and sometime around mid-2000s, we started seeing them resurface again. So it's important for us to know down in our heads that for any sovereign nation to succeed, it's going to be a constant struggle to ensure that you protect the lives and properties of the people that you actually govern. Otherwise, you don't have a country. And then thirdly, we want to have a country where we can all have a decentralized system. We believe that the center is holding too much and it's breaking. So right now, whether it's going to be power, whether it's going to be the security, we seem to have a country where everything has to do with the center. The president has to veto for everything to happen. We want to see it broken down, where state governors can start actually finding a way to harness their own God-given resources within their states and see how they can, produce their own internally generated revenue and send some part to the center. Right now, what we're doing is everything comes to the center and the center decides what they want to share. It makes everybody lazy. It makes everybody not feel the need to wake up. And then thirdly, we want to have a people that we are going to find a way to leverage on our comparative economic advantages. Those comparative economic advantages are the things that you have that I don't have, I have that you don't have. But when we bring them together, we can have economic viability. So I keep giving an example with what happens in Kano. In Kano, you go to Sharada and you find thousands and thousands of people who have been beating leather for the last 200 years. And these people still export leather to places like Louis Vuitton. Recently, Louis Vuitton released a report saying that Kano State is the second largest supplier of leather. But when you go to Ariaria Market in Aba, which we visited early this year, we saw clusters of people in thousands who manufacture leather shoes, bags, and belts. But at the end of the day, I asked them that one question: where do you get your local resource from? And they say, oh, we get them from Turkey. Some say we get them from some neighboring countries. And I'm like thinking in my head, what stops the governors of Abia State and that of Kano State to find a synergy to get this leather from Kano, to produce them here in Aba, and see how they can make money for the two states? If we do that, you will see how someone not finding whether that man is an Igbo man or not. The most important thing is that they have something they're doing together. So that's leveraging on our comparative economic advantages. And then all of these things I've mentioned will actually work easier for us if we have an understanding of how many Nigerians exist. So proper data management system is one of the things that we're pushing for. We want to have a proper data management system that is going to help us plan, help us forecast. If you're saying that you want to start feeding children in primary schools, and you cannot tell me how many children were born last month, then how do you plan for them in the next 2 years when they go into primary school or nursery school? So this disconnection exists, and that is why we don't seem to have a country that is progressive. But in all the things I've said, if we don't have a united people, we can have a progressive people.
Thank you so much, Ahmed. Thank you for your time. God bless you. I've actually said my prayers, hoping that the interviewer won't become the interviewee. It's not easy to be talking to eloquent Fela Durotoye. Fela, you're welcome to Ifoma Speaks.
Thank you, Ifoma. I'm glad to be here.
Okay, so please, could you introduce yourself?
My name is Fela Durotoye, and I'm a nation builder. And when people ask me what is a nation builder, I say, well, somebody who does 4 characteristics, A, B, C, and D. It's someone who accepts responsibility for the well-being of their nation, not just their own personal well-being, but how well their nation is doing. So any nation builder, even if you're doing very well, but your nation is not doing well, then you're not doing well enough. B, you believe in the greatness of your nation and the potential of that nation and the potential of your generation to be able to bring that greatness to pass. C, you're willing to commit your time, your energy, your resources, and D, to do something to deliver the future of your nation. Professionally, I'm a leadership expert, I'm a management consultant, but I'm also running for a new Nigeria. And people say to me, what does that mean? I said, well, I'm running to fix Nigeria through the office of the presidency. And so I am an aspirant, I'm a presidential aspirant on the platform of the Alliance for New Nigeria.
I just have 2 questions for you. What have you contributed to Nigeria from the time you were born until now?
Many times when people ask me questions like that, the first thing I want to say is, we are a very empowered generation. I think that this particular generation is the most empowered we've ever been. In the time of our parents, if you needed to get knowledge, you have to go to a library. You needed to be a member of that library. Today, all knowledge and information is mostly on everybody's mobile phone. So if you really want to know about anyone, right, and what that person has contributed, if it's real, it will probably be on the internet, so you can always find out, okay? And if you really want to know, then it's there. Would you like to know about Fela's Motion Makeover project? It's there on the internet. Do you want to know about Fela's contributions to education and how he's transformed education in states like Oyo State or Anambra State? It's there. If we really want to know, we know where to go. I think that many times people they're looking for somebody who's going to sit down there and begin to brag. Real achievers don't brag. Their work speaks for themselves. And I think that you can always go and find out. Yeah?
Interesting. My second question. What major contributions are you going to make to Nigeria when you become president? In fact, first, as flag bearer of your platform.
Okay, I think that the most important contribution that I'm going to make right now is getting people who typically are not involved in the electoral process to get involved. My job, as I am focused right now, is how do I get people with the right values, the people who will have the right vision, who want a new Nigeria like the way you and I want it. How do I get the people who have capacity or who are capable? How do I get them to run for office? Because you know what? As president, even if you're a good president and you have the capacity to be able you would never steal. If you still have a House of Assembly, especially at the national level, the Senate or the House of Reps, that are still padding and cutting the budget that is meant to impact the lives of people so that they can pad it with community projects that you and I know are, what can you do? So my point is, I think the greatest thing that I'm focused on right now is, number one, getting a critical mass of people to be able to run for office, who have the right heart, who have the right vision, who are capable, who have what it takes. Is there anybody who's looking and watching this video that would say that we don't have 1,588 people? This is not about Fela Durotoye, as much as everybody would like to make it. This is not about one man. This is about a generation. The 2019 elections is not just an election. It's a generational decision as to whether we move forward or we do backwards to where we're coming from, that has brought us here. So for me, I think the first most important thing that I'm going to bring to the table is getting people involved. And I'm hoping that somebody who's watching today is beginning to say, hey, you know what? And I ask very few questions. Number one, are you happy with the way things are now? Most people will say to you, no. Number two, is Nigeria blessed enough to be a better country than we already have today? The answer is yes. Number three, Should it be our children that will build a better nation? Or can we build a better nation than the one that we inherited from our parents? I think the answer is clear. We can build a better nation. Well, is a new Nigeria possible? I think everybody knows it is. So the last question is, okay, so what are you doing? Fela is doing what he can. But you, what are you doing? You're listening to me. Can we join hands and we can do different things? Some people will run for office and maybe that's not yours. Maybe your thing is just to look at the people who are running and see, how do I encourage them if they have the right heart? How do I enlighten the people around me who are not getting involved in the process and they're still thinking my vote will not count? You don't cast your vote because it won't count. Don't you know that if you don't cast your vote, for sure it will not count? That if you cast your vote, maybe it can count? Do you not understand that your vote is not a gift to a candidate? That it is the statement that you are making for the vision that you want for your children. That it is you saying, this person that I am putting my vote towards, or this party, this person represents the kind of person I want my children to be. That this is the pathway that I think we should go. So I think that today the real work that we're doing, that I'm doing, is trying to get a whole generation to accept responsibility for the nation that they will give to their children, and getting them to understand that they must get involved with giving that nation to their children. And if we're able to do that, the brightest and best of us will be given by merit the opportunity to take the best decisions on behalf of the rest. And when you give them that responsibility, choose the best people, the next thing is give them the resources to enable them do what they have to do. And most importantly, hold them accountable when they don't do it. This, for me, I think is going to be the greatest thing that we can build. Let's share a vision for a new Nigeria. Get the vision into the heart of the people. Let's share a new set of values that will help us to build this nation. Right? What are those values? We have 10 of them that I have been living for the last... we've been putting out there since 2004. So it's not something that you say, because of campaign. Number one, make a positive impact on everyone you meet and everywhere you go. Be a solution provider, not a part of the problem to be solved. Be a role model worthy of emulation. Be your best in all you do, particularly what you're naturally good at. Do the right thing at all times, regardless of who's doing the wrong thing. Value time and make the best use of it. Care and show respect to all through your words and your actions. Consciously build a great legacy, starting now, today, and every day. Live a life of integrity and honor, and make your family, your nation, and your God proud. I'm sure that there are the things that you want your children to be. Everybody is listening to that. Nobody, no religion says, I don't want that. No tribe says, I don't want that. So now you have a nation that we all want, regardless of tribal, religious differences. No. Now we have values that we all want. So now we can unite our nation again, and we can be a strong nation. We're 180, some people say 200 million strong. We are the largest black nation in the world. We are blessed with more resources than almost any nation can boast of. But then, can we just accept to rise to the occasion and let us build this new Nigeria together? And that's really is what I think that we're going to do when we get the opportunity.
Interesting. I have been so blessed listening to you. Thank you so much, Fela. Thank you. Wow. There we go. We have heard from eloquent Fela Durotoye, energetic Omoyele Sowore, and amiable Ahmed Buhari. Sharp minds, I must confess. They are actually young, vibrant men who want to make the difference. And I wish them all the best. Who knows, I may just be able to track down some more aspirants so we can hear them too, while we expectantly wait for who the cap fits. Thanks for watching Ifeoma Speaks. Kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel, and remember, life is meaningless until you find your purpose. Thank you.